right now, the only body that's doing anything substantial is Aaron Judge. And it just seems like the whole team in general is just a little bit on the downtrend, which you kind of almost would expect because they had a great first half of the season. So you got to, can figure there's going to be some type of regression. But I mean, just since the All-Star break, it's been tough to watch, especially when you're a fan.
But they haven't really lost that much. They've lost like 3 games in the standings because the teams behind them they're playing under 500. The teams behind them are only playing 500. And you talk about Aaron Judge. I saw they pitched around them last night with the bases loaded.
Yeah. Yeah, bases loaded. They wound up walking in them, and then, of course, that created a whole situation with that. And that was a very much needed win. But yeah, as of right now, I'm just going to continue to almost fade them in their pitching. I was surprised that they traded Montgomery, who just got traded to the Cardinals, who now the Cardinals are playing pretty well this time of year, and they're looking to make their postseason run.
That's Saturday morning. As soon as we're done, that game tips off in New York, Toronto and New York. It looks like Cole's going to be starting, and that's a perfect example. And Cole's on the mound. The odds are just, it's really hard. You almost have to take the run line, but the Yankees aren't putting points across. They're not scoring runs.
Points up. Yeah, I haven't even looked at the lines, to be quite honest with you, all the matchups. But anytime Cole is pitching, especially because he's going to be at home, it's going to be minus 200 or up. I can guarantee you that. And it's going to be minus 200, assuming the Yankees are going to lose today. And even if they lose tomorrow, they're still going to be minus 200. And yeah, I just can't do it. At that point, you're almost better off taking Toronto, even with the plus 1.5, in that situation. Like I said, I there's just nothing that they're showing me as far as their attitude and just their bats lately that would make me want to take them. And kind of what you said, they're in a situation where they've had injuries, but they had such a big lead. Yeah, and none of the other teams have capitalized.
Houston has, but not in their division.
They're pretty comfortable. I think they're still up double digits. So, yeah, Houston has kind of took reins of the AL conference, and now they're going to have the home field advantage, which is going to be tough for the Yankees. And like I said, just the injuries. They're missing a lot of key pieces. Rizzo, Stanton, that hurts the middle of the lineup. Now they're only focusing on Judge. And then you're putting guys in these predicaments where they're not used to being, in these situations. And, sometimes they feel like they have to do that much more. And then that's where we run into these issues. And just
on the other aspect is when you do take them on the run line, because at least then it gets it down to minus 160 or minus 140 or whatever. You're still a big minus number. You lose the 9th inning if they're in New York.
Exactly.
So now you lose 11% of your at bats, and you got to score 2 runs or more. It's a tough spot. Before we let you go, let's look at the rest of the MLB. Give me 2 more teams that you're thinking it's going to finish strong.
I would continue to ride the Astros. I just think the way they're playing right now, their rotation is looking good. The batting is right there. They've continued to be pretty consistent throughout the season. Obviously, they have the best record in the AL. I don't want to say the Dodgers because the Dodgers are going to be another one of those minus 200 teams, especially when they're at home. But I'm really impressed with the way the Atlanta Braves are playing because they made up consistent ground these last couple of weeks, just coming off the series with the Mets and also the Philadelphia Phillies. I think the Philadelphia Phillies are a team to watch moving forward because they had some people hurt and now they're starting to get certain pieces back. And I think their rotation in general with Wheeler and the other pieces that they have, it's going to be very intriguing to see where they land in this situation. Obviously, the Mets and the Braves are the top of that division. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of end the end of the year. They need Bryce Harper back. They haven't had him in a little bit of time. So, when he comes back, obviously you're talking about an MVP that could definitely make an impact and push Philadelphia into the contention for being up there in the NL East.
He's taking bat practice. I think he's going to be back soon. That's a big addition to any lineup.
Oh, of course. Well, anytime you get the middle of the lineup guys hurt, like I said, similar to how Stanton and Rizzo were out for the Yankees. You get guys who get pushed in this position and they kind of do too much because they're not used to being in there. Bryce Harper he's an all-star. He's put up MVP numbers. A Vegas boy, homebred. Las Vegas, so obviously that's going to make a big difference to the Philadelphia Phillies. And I just like how they're playing right now. Unfortunately, they're in a tough division as well because they have the Mets and the Braves who just continue just to win games. The Braves are in a similar situation to where they're getting some pieces back too that they didn't have. And they're just playing really, really good ball. And if you know about the Braves the last couple of years, this time of the year is when they really start to show out. So that's where I'd be looking to possibly make some money.